Welcome back to Into the Mystic, a podcast where we talk about the mystical wonders of the world. I'm Elena.
And I'm Kevin.
And today our episode is mostly going to be based around fears. So, considering that we have a show about mental health, I think that fear is such an important thing to talk about because it does control a lot of aspects in that sense. So, that's what we're going to be talking about. Do you have any comments?
No, I'm constantly afraid of everything, everywhere, all the time.
Yeah, no, I feel exactly the same. It's hard to tell whether something is just anxiety for me or if I'm like actually deathly afraid of something.
Mm.
Like for instance, driving, like people are like, "Oh, everyone has driving anxiety." I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't think it's anxiety. Like I think I'm actually afraid."
Mm.
Do you have anything like that? I'll take that as a no, honestly. Is it kind of just like a mix of things?
It's like, I mean, I have the rational fears of like heights, but not even really height. It's just like the fear of falling. Like I'm fine on like heights.
You just said you weren't.
No. Like I've like climbed stuff that it's like, oh, if I fall, I die. But if I think of falling while I'm up there, I'm like,
That's interesting as someone who likes snowboarding, that you're like afraid of heights.
No, yeah, it's a little bit
Mixed.
Yeah.
Here and there. All right, so is that like your biggest fear that you have, or is it just one of the few?
It's one of the few, I'd say. Well, what's your biggest fear? I'll think about mine.
So my biggest fear definitely revolves around like bugs. Like it actually drives me insane. Bugs, insects, that whole realm of things. I don't like anything that like crawls like that. It just absolutely freaks me out. When I was little, we had kind of an issue in our house with those things, and so they just like drive me crazy. Like spiders, literally ants. Like it's ridiculous being afraid of ants, but if I see them like near me, like I will get up and walk away. It's actually kind of embarrassing. But literally any of those things, like I cannot be around at all. And then people are like, "Oh, but they don't bite you or anything. Like they're harmless." Something about them freaks me out.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is.
I get that. Some just look gangly and gross.
Yeah, they're just disgusting. And like, for instance, one time I went to go eat food at a place. I'm not going to name names. And I ordered crepes. So do you know what those are?
Yeah.
They're like really thin pancakes for anyone that doesn't know. And when I was like cutting them up into bite sizes or whatever, I literally saw like bugs come out of the crepes and I literally started screaming. My mom was like, "What happened?" I was like, "Never, ever, ever am I going to go back to that place ever again."
Yeah. I get, I don't know. But bugs are like yucky to me, but I'm never like afraid of them.
Yeah.
That's just, I've seen people afraid of them. I've seen, maybe a little bit, but I've seen a friend who's deathly afraid of bees, like to the point that they like pass out.
Oh, for real?
Like it was gym class in middle school, and we went outside. We were like running the track or something, and a bee landed on them, and they stood there, froze, and blacked out on the spot. Like, have you ever seen the videos of like where goats are like deathly afraid
and they fall?
Exactly like that. Textbook.
That's so crazy. I've never gotten to to the point of passing out of being scared of something, but I definitely I hardly scream at things if I'm afraid of them, like cuz I also don't like bees, but they're not the worst thing to me. Like I will just freeze and just kind of like blankly stare. What bothers me the most is when I can hear them. Like if I can hear them shoot past my ear and no, I'll freak out. But I'll like calmly walk away. There's some people that like if they're around bees or wasps, they'll like run and scream at the top of their lungs. I am a little bit more controlled than that. But just kind of like any insects for me, I can't do nothing about them.
That's unfortunate. But sorry, that was, that was a little rude.
Okay, judgy over here.
Yeah.
It is kind of embarrassing though. I will admit. I mean, there's like as a kid, there's been times where I'll be at like a picnic or playing with my friends, and they'll like just sit on the grass, and I'm like, nope, not gonna do that. I can't do that. I will rather stand for however long than sit on the grass, especially if there's no like blanket or anything between. Nope, won't do it.
Just gotta get up and pick a different location.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't like the outdoors.
Yeah. Oh, that you had the Sunny Planet Earth trip. Had that.
Yeah, there weren't really any bugs though. I mean, we were in caves, which there weren't really any bugs. Yeah, I don't think anything that we were doing like with hiking and stuff. Hiking is fine because like I'm not sitting on the floor, I'm walking. Like the bugs outside don't bother me, but like for example, I camped at a music festival for like a long weekend for 3 days, and we had our tent, and then inside of our tent had like these little beds sort of. They were like lifted by, like metal poles or whatever, and then like a bed. And even that would freak me out because there's basically a layer between the grass, the tent itself, and then there's still like levitation from where the mattress is, and yet I would still freak out because like I would still find bugs managing to find their way in my bed, and that like it actually freaked me out so badly. So, moving on from that, what is your biggest fear, if any?
Give me 2 seconds to think about that. It
doesn't have to be a physical thing either. It could be like a concept.
Ooh, I talked about this, and this gives me like extreme chills. It's like not apocalypse, I guess. It's like
zombies.
No. Like world-ending scenarios, kind of like where.
Oh yeah.
Cause why?
That just makes sense. Like, I mean, who wouldn't be scared of that technically?
Yeah, I guess it's like it's a fear of death in a way, but it's very extreme. It's like I guess it's also like because I can comfortably be like, oh, I'd be fine if I died of natural cause or unnatural cause, but if we lose control, does that make sense?
No, that totally makes sense. I feel like you would be the type of person during like the 2000s when everyone thought the world was gonna end. You'd be the person who had like a shelter in their basement that like. Thank God you were a kid at the time.
I wasn't alive for Y2K.
Yeah. Well, right, but like there was still a period after that we were both born.
Yeah.
Because my parents are like exactly like that, where they're afraid of the same thing. And our basement is like a bunker, dude. It's just filled with like food that doesn't go bad and all sorts of things. Like my dad is paranoid in that sense.
Yeah, I feel like I would have been like, come on, there's no concrete evidence. Like, what are we doing? Like, I mean, like like I have to see like.
That's true,
like,
but I feel like you'd have like a feeling inside of your head that would also be like, but what if I'm wrong?
Yeah, but I wouldn't have been like the buy gold people, but I think I would have been a little antsy, and then once it went away, I would have been like, all right, these guys have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, I told you this whole time it wasn't gonna happen, guys.
Yeah,
guys, I swear. So, do you have like any interferences with that fear that you have to like deal with? Like, has there been an instance where it was like concentrated?
It was mainly my childhood, but it was because that was like my big thing since I was able to like think.
Since you gained consciousness.
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. Like by the age of 4, this was my fear until like recently when I just decided to like forget that it's or not pretend like it's not there.
Yeah, other kids are scared of clowns, and then Kevin's scared of dying.
Yeah, that and the end of the human race. That's a very.
Well, I mean, they both go hand in hand.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like. I brought up there was, like the what is it? The Museum of Natural History. they have this like ramp that you go up around, and
Mhm.
it's like the Earth throughout the years, and it's like the 14 billion years that it's existed, and it's like the different periods that gives me like the heebie-jeebies. It's like,
Really?
yeah, like how
You
my
don't find it interesting? Like it
I
freaks you
do,
out?
I do, but it genuinely like scares me. Like
That's so crazy. I feel like I like looking back at history, like seeing how we've evolved. That's interesting. You don't like it.
it's like well pre us, like when it was just
Right.
amoeba and like yeah,
No, like pre when you were born.
Mhm.
Just, the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaky, terrifying.
No, cause I watched a video, what is it? A video essay on the Great Dying. It's this, so you know the I don't know the exact scientific name for it, but the day the dinosaurs died or whatever.
Okay.
So
Just
that
one day, all of them gone.
well, that's what happened. It was 75% of life was killed in one day. But the Great Dying was like an amassed period of time. It was right after another heightened point of extinction. But the Great Dying is when like 96% of life died in this period of time.
For what reason? Just
Um,
cause.
well, it was the world's conditions were just too harsh to like live in. It was, there was like constant flowing molten rock everywhere.
Oh,
and
volcanoes.
But it heated up the world too much for life to exist. So the forests would be set on fire by this molten lava, and it would kill pretty much everything before the lava would, and it was just horrifying. They couldn't breathe.
So basically, your fear
Yeah.
is not to be a dinosaur.
Yep.
In retrospect.
My fear is to go out seeing everyone else go out with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'd
that
rather
makes
go
sense.
on my own terms. Without seeing anyone else.
That's a little
Okay. Not like that. Not like that. Not like that. I'm very happy with myself in the state I'm in.
Yes, okay.
But to answer your question from before, suffocation. That's my fear. That's my biggest fear.
You just went on a whole ramble that had nothing to do with that, technically.
Mm-hmm. It's one of my fears, but suffocating is my biggest fear.
Says the swimmer.
And that's why I didn't bring it up, because the irony of that.
Says the swimmer, but okay. Noted.
Yeah, okay. I'm horrified as to what that entails.
Oh, nothing. Okay, well, there's that. Do you think you have, like, anything else that, like, is there any specific fear that, like, causes a giant obstacle in your life that, like, limits you from doing something that you're so scared of it? Because, like, you can go day life without worrying about, like, getting suffocated, but, like, is there something that, like, is an obstacle?
I don't know. I'll think about it, and I'll let you know right after this quick little ad break.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back from the break. So just a quick little refresh for you guys. I asked Kevin before the break started, is there any fear that you have that sets a natural obstacle in your life that kind of limits you from doing anything?
Well, no.
That's great. That's great to hear that.
How about you?
I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But,
Yeah.
Lucky you.
I guess. Yeah. How about you?
Definitely. I feel like there's a few. I mean, the bug thing is kind of just a small thing, but I have a terrible fear of driving, as I previously mentioned before.
Mhm.
And honestly, I've gotten to the point that it's definitely not just like a small anxiety, because I realize that other people, when they start driving, like, it's a little freaky to everyone.
Yeah.
But I have gotten in too many accidents and just heard about too many accidents, and now it's kind of like almost a PTSD kind of thing that, like, it completely limits me. Like, I cannot sit in the driver's seat. I haven't really done it in a while. It just, like, I cannot deal with it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Something about it, and that is a huge limit for me, because every person my age, a junior, wants to start driving and wants to get their car and wants to start going places. And I have a job, and so, like, it would, benefit my life greatly being able to learn how to drive. And at this point, it's been 6 months since I have my permit. Like, I could technically be driving, but yeah, I really don't like it. I do start driver's ed, but I'm honestly not excited in the slightest. I don't really find any joy, and it can be quite frustrating when people tell me, like, oh, it's just a little obstacle. Everyone faces it. Like, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like, people don't start crying when they're in the driver's seat because they hate it so much. Like, that's not normal. Not everyone does that.
Yeah. I have a good movie for you.
Oh, no. It's
I
a
was-
movie all about car crashes.
I was literally just about to say Fast and the Furious. That would help
No,
you get over.
that actually would not help me.
That would not help.
Yeah, it actually, I was starting to do a little bit better. Like, I was starting to get to the point that I was driving once a week with my cousin and, like, slowly do things, in, like, a cemetery. Sounds creepy, but hear me out. Like, it's honestly the perfect place to start driving because there's not really any cars. There's up and down hills, turns, like loops, parking, all sorts of things. Like, think about it. It's the perfect place to start driving.
Yeah.
So she would take me there, and I was starting to get the hang of it because even though it still freaks me out, like, I did kind of recognize I have to get over it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really rely on public transportation for everything. And I was doing a lot better. And then one of my cousins told me actually yesterday that he got in a car crash. Yeah. And so that kind of like stunted me greatly. Like, it was pretty bad. I was like, that could be me. And I know him. He lives in Miami. And he's 18, he's been driving for the past year, and he's a great driver. I know that. And he was, like, it wasn't my fault. This car, like, it short braked all of a sudden, and his car, like, lost control, and bam. And I was like, I started crying when he told me that. I was like, I can't believe that, like, something so quick like that, you could be the best driver in the world. Like, so yeah, it really limits me in so many ways that I won't drive. And I especially won't drive if there's like more than one person in the car. Like, that's not gonna be under my responsibility, and I don't think I'm ever gonna be okay with that. Like, I don't think I could ever see myself driving like 4 of my friends around at like next year or anything like that. I'd be like, no, shotgun actually.
I will say my mom has, I should have said someone in my family, but my mom is very much like that. She was the nervous driver for a long time, and it wasn't necessarily short distance, it was long distance, to the point that we'd be taking trips up to Vermont, and I think it was just she got too close to an accident, and she like started freaking out one time, and since then she goes a little crazy in the car.
Yeah. No, that would definitely be me. My dad freaks me out because he has like such bad road rage, and there's been times that it's like I just picture it being so close, and I'm not even driving in that situation. Like, I'm just in the passenger seat, but he'll be like so close to something actually happening, and I kind of just get mad at him. I'm like, what are you doing that for? Like, I'm in the car. Like, you can't be like acting like that. Like, letting your anger get the best of you.
Yeah.
But it's like I haven't even driven on an actual road. I've driven in parking lots and in cemeteries. Like, I have not driven Austining. I have not gone on the freeway. Like, that stuff is even worse to me. If I'm, like, anxious in just an empty place on, like, a flat surface in the middle of the day, like, I can't imagine myself, like, driving down through Austining. Like, Austining traffic, like, that, no. I'm not excited for that. And I know, like, drivers that is literally going to...
Yeah.
How else are you going to get out of the school? Like, that's kind of inevitable.
You do drive roads once you get out of the school.
Yep.
But
the roads are there.
Yeah. But what I will say with driver's ed, and the nice thing about his car, is that on his side, he has a brake.
Yeah.
And it locks your gas and your brake on your side.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
But the real world does not have that.
No. It's definitely going to be something to get used to, but
It is
you
what it is.
yeah, you
I
do
kind
it.
of have to deal with it.
Yeah, you do it in increments, kind of, I guess, understanding that, yeah, it's scary that um that these things happen and that something could potentially go wrong, but ultimately you don't want to live in fear of it. You want to
Yeah.
overcome.
That's the goal. It's not really easy though, and I will admit that, which isn't something that like I like to go around saying like I'm scared of driving, because everyone at my age is like, I love driving. Like my friend will tell me like, oh yeah, like I drove to like Cortland, like the Cortland shopping center or whatever, and I'm like, what? That's like so far away. Like that's like the highway. Like what do you mean you drove all that way? Freaks me out.
It is a little freaky.
A little.
A lot.
Little bit. Yeah, it's just things like that. I have so many like. I actually had a nightmare about that yesterday, because it was right after my cousin called me at night telling me what happened, and that night I literally dreamt. I don't know if dream is the good word. It was more of a nightmare, but I dreamt that I, got in
A crash.
crash myself, like I was driving. And so yesterday it threw me off like quite a lot, because it just kept kind of playing in my mind that I was like, this happened to my cousin, like this could happen to me. And actually like having the visual in my head now from that dream was not very good. I was not very excited about that yesterday. I don't know. It is what it is. A lot of dreams like put me in that sense. It's like I already had that fear. You didn't need to show that to me now.
Yeah.
It makes it worse. But it's so out of my control.
I think that's part of what fear is that you can't control, or you don't know what to do. It's
Yeah.
like as a whole. If you like, I'm saying fear, not necessarily like a specific fear, but it's
In general.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yours is not being able to have control in the situation.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's driving oriented, which is something that you have to learn control over.
Yeah.
But that takes time, that takes patience, that takes getting comfortable, which it's easier said than done, but I think that driver's ed will be a good program for you.
Yeah, I hope so too. But, we'll update you as the show continues to go on and everything. Hopefully, I will overcome that fear and we can talk about it. But I think that is the end of today's episode. Do you have anything to end on?
I guess a little something. Just know that you are bigger and better than your fears. So don't be afraid to face them. Same goes to you. You're afraid of suffocation. Well, besides that, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. We hope you have a good rest of your day and everything is going well with you. Thank you for listening to O Radio. We put the O in radio. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Bye, guys.